Okay, thank you everyone. So first of all, I want to thank for giving us an opportunity to come and do a presentation to all of you. So it's good to see few of our, not most of our clients also over here. So I think some of you have already known me from our experience. So today what I'm going to be doing is, I'll be talking in the area of how RMA started getting into the MSP industry and where we are helping the MSP industry in the area of digitalization and innovation. Because remittance, as we know, cross-border payments is the young word or in thing right now. More and more people are talking about it. More and more new companies, more and more fintechs are coming in. But again, there are MSP players who are basically the traditional players. So how we can basically have a leap of growth for them, where actually they can grow from their brick and mortar based model, from the brick and mortar based model to the digital model or the digital channels. So I will just go quickly. Okay, let's first talk about the numbers. I think so when we talk about business, the first thing coming to mind is what's the market potential we're talking about. So I think when we look into the market point of view, the global remittance or the industry point of view, it's talking about USD 95.1 billion. And again, it's growing at the rate of 17.6%, which is a quite good percentage growth, as you can see. And we are happy to say that Asia Pacific is the dominant when it comes to the digital remittance market. So everybody is looking into Asia Pacific right now. Now when we talk about Malaysia, so Malaysia, the projected growth is roughly around 9.48%, which is resulting from 24 to 28, and basically the market volume is expected to be 1.25 billion in 2028. Now let's talk about some of the statistics we just released very recently. So basically in 2023, we can see the increase in 3.3% only for the inbound remittance. So inbound remittance also is growing quite a lot in Malaysia market, which is talking about both peer-to-peer and B2B. And the volume is expected to go to 1.74 billion, although the growth rate may be 2.0, because I think as per the industry standard, this year the growth rate is not as attractive, but again next year the growth is expected more. And same thing when we talk about the outflow point of view, we are talking about again it's 2.4%, which is roughly around 9.35 billion in 2024. And again the expected growth rate is 1.5%. So what we are trying to show over here is, what I'm trying to say is, there's a huge potential, And as you can see, more and more MSP players are coming, and every now and then we come to know there's a new player in the market. So it shows that there's a potential. And again, potential is all about what kind of value you want to give to the client. Now what happened is, when we look into all these numbers and all, so we started, it was a time of pandemic where we were also looking for some new opportunities and all. And then we found that a lot of MSP players within Malaysia, they were struggling. So they were all, as I mentioned, they were on the brick and mortar based model, or some of them, they were only class C players. But they have ambition, they have vision to go into a class A player, or basically do money exchange and remittance both. So what happened is, we started talking to them, we started understanding the pain point, we started doing some analysis in the market, and then what we found was, so the industry challenges was basically most of them, they were running on silo systems, So it was basically a system which is being provided by some technology provider, which may be running on client server. It's only focusing on brick and mortar, cannot do any kind of integration. Largely, it's more standalone system. The IT within the so-called MSP players also, they may not have proper IT staff as well, the team who understand what kind of technology is needed. Then talking about the processes were also quite manual or semi-automated. Then of course, one of the main area of concern was security and the governance. And last, not but the least, is, as we have noticed from past few years, Bank Negara has been basically introducing more and more compliance day by day. So these were the things, the challenges which they were facing. And then, so what we come about was that we come up with a solution which can actually help them from the point of view, is basically moving away from the silo system to a totally integrated platform. So when we talk about the integrated platform, we're talking about everything under all-in-one solution. For example, we can have remittance, we can have money exchange, we can have wholesale banknotes. So what we did was, we come with a solution which can serve the entire market. Then of course, we're talking about digital channels, because they were all running on brick and mortar based model. So then we move into the digital channel, which is more towards mobile, web app, kind of thing. Yeah, and another one thing which we managed to achieve along with our clients as well was to move them to a cloud-based platform, because that was the need of the team. Because they were all running on some kind of standalone servers and everything, where actually they cannot scale. So scalability was a concern. So that's where They move into the cloud-based platform with the flexible commercial as and when they grow, they have to pay for it. And then main important part was the compliance. At that point of time, most of the brick and mortar based model, they were only using some kind of maybe Venezia, MoMA kind of watch list. They start integrating with maybe players like Dow Jones, LexisNexis for doing the sanction screening, and then also automating a lot of other things on the flagging the transaction, AMLA point of view as part of the compliance, which was slightly lacking on the other point of view. And then what we noticed was that they need hand-holding, because most of them, they were coming from non-IT background, but they were very strong in the business. And they were looking for a solution which can help them to address the business need, but also from the technical point of view. And that's where they require a lot of handholding, and that's where we start playing a big role with them, where we try to teach them on how to use the system, and then also thinking roadmap on their behalf. Because that was a key part, because they want to grow, because they have aspiration, they have ambition, but they may not have the technical know-how from going from brick and mortar to the totally digital channel. So that's where we found there was a gap, and that's where we come in and we try to propose a solution which can help the industry in addressing this particular gap. Okay. Now, yes, we found the gap and all. So this was one of the slide which I was in roughly during the COVID time. I was reading some article which actually came from G20, where they come with a roadmap, where they say for G20 countries, they want to have a remittance framework, where they actually come with these 4 quadrants: cost, speed, access, and transparency. And one of the key things they want to achieve was that the transaction cost should not go more than 3%, the global average cost, okay, within G20 cross-border region. And they were talking about that 90% should have a so-called electronic remittance or a digital remittance. So this is one of the guide which actually I personally, along with my team, of course my co-founder Chubi also with me over here as well, sitting behind. So we all discuss internally, and then we say, okay, how we can actually come up with a system which can allow our MSP players or the clients to use this within these 4 quadrants where they actually can exceed. So what happened? So we started going into one by one, where actually we started designing a solution which we're talking about from the access point of view. So where we come up with the omni-channel strategy. So now we have all the channels available. So we have anybody wants digital channels, web, mobile, all got for P2P and B2B. We're talking about brand channels. We're talking about agent channels, and we are now started with the digital agent channel as well. Where actually the others who want to consume our APIs, to start connecting with them, for example, non-MSP players or even the MSP players, then they basically can become a digital agent, because this is a new thing. For example, there's a wallet player in the market who may not have license for remittance, but then they can basically be a digital agent to an existing remittance service provider and can offer the service. And this is the market which actually is now going to grow, because more and more we're talking about e-commerce. E-commerce requires a lot of cross-border payments. For those cross-border payments, you need this kind of service to be enabled. So where actually, instead of paying the so-called high spread on either on the credit card and all, this could be one area which will play a major role. Then again, talking about the speed, of course, speed on the customer acquisition point of view, we're talking about digital onboarding with the eKYC. And of course, same thing, because as a MSP player or a remittance service provider, you need to have API integration with multiple payout partners, because at the end of the day, everybody is hunting for a cost. Everybody is looking for it where I can save money, where I can get cheaper rates. So of course, they have to connect to the multiple payout partners. So that's where this API-driven platform comes in. Then we talk about payment gateway integration. So within Malaysia, of course, when they're trying to offer a digital channel, they need to integrate with the service providers like like iPay, 88 and all. So basically to collect the funds before sending to overseas. And then what we did was basically, we also understand that one solution will not fit for all. So what we did was we basically make it highly modular. Not only modular, but we also did a lot of customization for each of our clients. Because each of the clients, they have their own business model. They have their own processes. Yes, overall, I will call it 80-20 or 70-30. Okay, 70% may be common, but 30% definitely their deviation. So that's where we try to start so-called customizing our solution to meet that particular need. And what we notice is largely the deviation is coming in the area of treasury. How they manage the treasury. Then basically talk about transparency point of view. So so basically all the automatic workflows, the basically seamless transaction processing, talking about the compliance and transaction monitoring, because this is something what we did. So we basically built a mini AMLA into a platform which can do the so-called transaction screening. We can define some pattern, and again we're talking about ongoing due diligence and etc. So those are the features we try to bring in. And also one of the most important part is how to retain the customer. So customer retention and loyalty is one of the main things. For example, we're talking about promo codes as well. We're talking about bonus points. So of course, so these are one of the key features which I think normally the customers appreciate. And then of course reporting. We're talking about Southeast Asia, and we are very much report driven. Everybody loves reports. So we have quite ready reports out of our platform itself. And then, as I mentioned about the costing point of view, treasury is the key. I think when we talk about remittance, treasury is the most important part of it. How you source the fund, what's the cost when you're sourcing the fund, and then how you can put a markup. If your cost is high, how you can sell, in the market where the competition is very high. So sourcing of the fund is very, very important. So that's why I think so. I was talking to Vincent as well. So this is where a lot of MSP players are struggling. And again, maybe one of the source could be the banks, but others is other than banks, maybe other non-banking entities and all, maybe MSP players where they can play a role over here. Then we're talking about is direct access. So now, of course, the idea is more what we call the payout partners you have. So the idea is you may have better rates, but again on the other side is you may have higher funding costs as well. Then and then of course we're talking about settlement. So these 2 points are very important: FX management and currency settlement. So these are 2 key areas which we notice among our players where they always focus on, where they can get the funding cheaper. Second is the settlement is on T+1, T+2, T+3. That makes sense. At the end of the day, because people talk about pre-funding over here, or in fact, we talk about post-funding now. So these are some of the approaches where we actually we went through with our clients, where we try to handhold them. We also give them inputs. What are the what works for them, what doesn't work for them, and again each company has their own pricing model or their own aspiration as well. So then what we did was we basically come up with the strategy of going digital versus being digital. So I can just give you an example. So we met up with one of the clients. So they have a core system which was running on a brick on mortar based kind of model. So then they come up with a digital channel. So digital channel, they come with a separate application like a mobile app just to do the transaction. So what they were doing is, because both systems cannot talk, so there is no API gateway over there. So what they were doing is, any transaction come from the digital channel, they go and manually key into the brick and mortar based model, then only the transaction get processed. And it's a real So that's what I can call it. So people thought going digital means I just need to launch my mobile app, I just need to launch my digital channel. But I say no, you have to be digital. Means you need to have a core which can sustain or which can basically improvise or which can modernize those digitalization models. For example, API is must, like as you also mentioned. API, without API we cannot talk. No API, no. So now if you talk about remittance industry, if you're trying to be standalone, can't survive. Especially in this kind of competitive environment. So that's where the strategy should be being digital. Yes, it does come with a cost, it does come with some, some expectation, but the good thing is when you go being digital, you have digital onboarding of customer, you will have a digital front office, you have channel strategy, all your operations are automated, and then of course from business expansion point of view, you have API engine. So I always tell my clients, try to go for this option of being digital. Yes, we can do workaround. Like just now I give you an example. You can have 2 different systems, they may not be talking, but yes, you can serve the customer. But end of the day, you only can do 9 to 6 or 9 to 8 only. What about transactions which are coming in the late hours? Or what about some transactions which need to go through kind of screening and so these are the challenges which do come. So that's why the strategy is very important. Yes, I always normally tell everyone, doing the right thing is the key way. Then basically, now we have gone digital and everything. What next? So I was just discussing internally with over here as well. So now, yes, you have launched your digital channel, you already have your mobile app going on, what you want to do next? So next is basically you want to become a transaction processor. That's the key in the market. So now we're talking about is basically there's 2 things. Of course, I just changed the word over here. But anyway, this word also exists in the market now. It's called remittance as a service. Where as a MSP player, you also can provide remittance or you can process a transaction on behalf of others. Others could be MSP player or could be non-MSP player. So just now I spoke about digital agent, So somebody who may not be from the remittance industry, they want to process their transaction, they basically can basically consume your API and can pump or send all the transactions to you. And second thing which is coming up very much is open data. Of course in Malaysia we don't talk about it too much, but if you go outside Malaysia, right, open data is where actually anybody can access to any API. For example, if I want to validate any customer details, if I want to validate, let's say I'm a foreigner, I want to see what's the legitimacy of my passport, my visa and all. So those are the information can be easily available. or even some countries now the banks, they give you open API, I can connect to those banks, I can find out what's my account balance. So maybe I can come with a super app which actually can allow me to do remittance and also can have access to all my banking, so-called bank accounts. It's quite prominent in many countries right now, but of course in Malaysia it's still not yet there, but I'm sure it's coming up. So these are two things which are basically you're gonna see more transformation coming up, and especially in this area. Now, as I can see, okay, earlier when you're talking about financial institutions, they were very much into traditional method. They were only going through SWIFT. Nobody talked about non-SWIFT. But now banks are also going into the non-SWIFT mode. So in a way they also understand the rates they get, the speed or the instant payment. There's a demand of the day. They only can fulfill if they're going outside the traditional model. So this is the area where actually is getting picked up very much. So I think we're talking about a new standard which are coming up. I'm sure some of us may be aware of ISO 2022. Because now everybody is moving to that standards. So in that case, everybody can use the same API to connect to anyone. Because it's a common industry standard. And we're talking about a cloud-driven platform, it's a future ready, and then again, flexibility to adapt to the changing conditions. Because this is very important. The idea is we need to have a strategy. We need to know where we want to go next. So sometimes what happened is we think we have launched our digital channel, what next? So this is one of the most important things which I'm also trying to, seeing right now in the market, more and more players are getting into it. So the key takeaways from this one is the digital opportunities are massive. Now it's not only talking about a transaction point of view; it's also about how you want to do the acquisition point of view. And the key word is collaboration. More you collaborate, the more opportunities are coming. Because the time has gone where people want to reinvent the wheel. It's always to leverage on others who already have set up something. You can reuse it, and then you can start going to the market. Because time to market is very important. The speed at which you can go and capture the customer, that's very important. And this holistic strategy is critical, as I said, right? Sometimes the strategy only stops at we have gone digital, okay, what next? So that's where what next is very important. We need to keep on questioning ourselves. Same thing will go for us as well. We being a solution provider, we also keep on questioning that. What we want to do next? What extra we can offer to our clients? What extra improvement we can get? Open API is definitely the key. So I think more and more when I can see banking, non-banking, any industry, we are all talking about APIs. We are talking about how systems can talk, how system can communicate, and of course security is very important. So the idea is because at the end of the day, as I say, collaboration. Collaboration is not only about business collaboration; it's also about system collaboration. Nothing can go without system these days. If you ask me, right? So it is very important that the systems are such which are flexible, can be easily connected, and can bring the business value over there. And then customer retention and loyalty. See, there are many service providers. Okay, so what differentiate? One could be the cost factor, but again, the loyalty point of view, the way the customer is being treated, the way the customer had an experience when trying to perform a transaction, the way maybe the customer got some incentive attached to it when he performs more transaction, maybe on the cost and everything. So those are very important. So how you want to build your, and again, what extra, what new you're offering to them. And then, okay, last but not the least is, of course, the right partner. Because right partner is very important. Whether it's technology, whether it's business, because end of the day, this relationship goes for long. And again, if you're right partner who understands the market pulse, that's where the catch is. That's how you basically can outperform on the competition point of view. Okay. With this, I will summarize my slide. Okay. So I put this thing. Basically, what is happening from our point, what we have seen in our experience point of view, we normally keep on getting new requirements, which could be a demand from the customer. It could be a customer, it could be our the MSP player and all. We start engaging. Okay, so either we want to develop it or we get it outsourced. Then basically deliver. Okay, then basically the product is launched and it's launched in the market. But after launch, there has to be continuous feedback. Because this feedback is very important. Because when you're going and meeting the customer, when you offer a new channel to the customer, what is the feedback? Whether they like it, some of the function they may not like it. Because at the end of the day, it's a continuous journey. It's a continuous journey. Whether any digital channel, anything, even if we talk about OTC as well, over the counter as well. Because we want to understand the customer experience. We want to see how we can capture the customer to be as a loyal customer. So the experience loop or the feedback loop is very important, irrespective of it. And this is a continuous journey. So normally what we have from our experience, which I normally share with all my clients is, Start something small. Yes, we want to aim for bigger, but start small. Let's not look for a perfect thing. There's nothing called perfect picture or perfect story, about it, because it has to keep on improvising. And then start smart. When I say start smart is go with the minimum, Let's say, for example, when we talk about cloud, we should go with the bare minimum what we need, Or maybe when we're choosing a partner, whether it's for payment partner or technology partner, we should see whether it can be going for midterm, long-term kind of strategy. And the most important is the hyper-localization. So hyper-localization is most of the clients, they have their own target customers. For example, we can't put migrant customers and the expats into the same marketing strategy. Same thing when we're talking about the corporate payments, the SME and the large corporate, they need a different treatments. So the idea is you have to keep on customizing your service, because everybody has a different demand, everybody has a different need. But one solution cannot be for all, that is for sure. Okay? Then keep innovating, because idea is we need to keep on listening to the customer, then keep on putting into this loop and think of how we can improvise it. For example, we're talking about digital. Within digital, what extra we can offer, Maybe they want to do some other services. Maybe we're talking about insurance. Maybe we're talking about wallets. So those are things. And then keep collaborating. I think the important point over here is, let's not reinvent the wheel. The idea is there is a lot in the market which can be reused. Because the idea is when we invent, we invest a lot, and again we're not sure whether it will work or it doesn't work. So when we do a collaboration, it's something which we can easily launch the product or new services in the market in a very rapid pace. And this is how actually I can say within the ecosystem, all of us are like an industry player's point of view. We all play a role. So each of us, when we start collaborating, in a way, there's a business volume, and I think we all can grow. Competition has to be healthy competition. That's what I always say. And collaboration is the key for all of us to basically go to the next, level as well. So with this, I summarize my presentation. Okay, I think I went on a little bit fast. Okay, thanks all for your time. Thank you.